imagine being in the middle of a mass shooting where people are screaming and crying and dying. And here I am on the phone singing "You Are My Sunshine" while I'm holding a stranger's shoulders. And I don't know if I'm gonna die.
On October 1st, 2017, what was supposed to be a festive night of country music in Las Vegas turned into a scene of horror. And my co-host Kacie lived through it, not just in the crowd, but in the deadliest zone of the deadliest mass shooting by a lone gunman in American history. She had been right up front, an amazing spot for a concert that instantly became the worst location for watching the carnage unfold. She survived even as dozens right around her lost their lives, with the gunman firing over 1,000 rounds in 10 minutes, and a total of 60 victims killed and over 860 injured. This is the story of that night, what Kacie saw, how she made it out, and the gunman who orchestrated the massacre. Now we're here on the 8th anniversary of that horrific day for Kacie to share every detail of what happened in her own words publicly for the first time. I'm Shelby.
And I'm Kacie.
And this is Chill Seeker. Let's start with a quote by another survivor recounting their experience to the Washington Post. "We held hands with people we didn't even know and said, 'Call your mom, call your dad. This might be the last time we do this.'" Okay, let's go. All right, let's get right into it and start at the beginning. Kacie, do you want to tell us your story?
Yes. So it's crazy that it's been 8 years, because in so many ways it feels like it was just yesterday, but then at the same time it feels like it was 30 years ago. But I'm ready to share it. So here we go. Only way to start is at the very beginning. So in 2017, it was in September when my parents asked my sister and I if we wanted their tickets. And
I didn't even know that. It was your parents' tickets originally.
Yeah, it was their tickets.
Oh my God.
Which, thank God, they gave the tickets to my sister and I, because I just don't know what would have happened if it were my parents there. And I feel like it was better that it was my sister and I there. Just
Man,
because,
I don't know about that, but I mean, I guess that's very altruistic of you,
I guess,
of course.
Yeah, in my mind, it's like we're younger, we're able to be quicker on our feet, is the way that
They may not have been able to escape.
Yeah, so and of course, they carry guilt over giving us the tickets.
There's no possible way they ever could have predicted that.
No, of course not. But when my sister and I were gifted these tickets, we were so excited because we've always been concert buddies. So my sister and I don't really hang out all the time, but we would hang out whenever there was music involved. We just love live music. Like even in high school when we weren't super close, we would still bond over music, and we would go to Blink 182 shows together. And that was kind of how her and I bonded, was always through live music and just dancing, and the experience of meeting people at concerts and becoming friends with people that you just meet at a show and you hang out the whole show. And this festival was no different. So we bought tickets to fly to Vegas, and on the flight there, I had this weird feeling in my stomach. I did not feel well. Something was wrong.
Wow.
And if you know me, you know that I have several health conditions. One of them being...
I was going to say psychic abilities. That too.
I definitely now in hindsight think that I was having some type of intuition.
Yeah.
But at that time, my POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, was really bad. So my sister and my mom both thought that I was just having POTS symptoms. But something was so off with me that when we made it to the hotel, I called my mom and I was like, I don't feel well. Like, I don't know that I can go to this festival. Like, something is off. And she's like, just eat a bunch of salt, like make sure you're drinking electrolytes. Like, I think it's just your POTS acting up. Like, you guys are going to have so much fun. So
I mean, of course, that's what you would say, right? Like, that's what anyone would think.
Of course, like, you're not thinking that it's like a gut feeling. You're thinking like, oh, that's one of the symptoms of her health condition, which makes complete sense. Like, I understand why they chalked it up to that.
Or even just normal anxiety, because I feel like I've had anxiety before going to some kind of event or like even going to like a theme park or something and felt like something was off, something was wrong, but then nothing bad did happen. So I feel like that would be normal, right?
Exactly. So just to give people insight, this is a 3-day long music festival. And the venue was on the Vegas Strip. So basically they turned a parking lot into a music festival. So the first day of the festival was on a Friday. And I just remember my sister and I having a great time on Friday. Like, we were dancing, we were meeting people, we made so many friends. Like, it was just a good vibe. Like, nobody was mean. There was no, like, we didn't see any fights. And you know, at festivals, there's like always people fighting.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of that. Like, it was just like a really good vibe the first night. But I still had that feeling in my stomach and I still felt off. Even though I was enjoying myself with my sister, I still felt off. And so much so that I made us leave on Friday night. And I said to Allie, which is my sister, I said, Allie, like, I'm not feeling good. Something's off. I don't want to be here. And she's like, this is my favorite artist. And her favorite artist at that time was Eric Church. And he had just started his set on Friday night. And I had to sit down and I just said, I'm not doing good. And my sister's like, well, it's no fun for me if you're not gonna like dance with me.
Yeah.
So we left. So Friday, we didn't even see the main act. And I'm sure, like any sister, probably she was a little bit annoyed with you, right? Because she missed her favorite artist. Like, it makes sense. And I felt bad too. Like, I felt bad that I made her miss her favorite person that she was looking forward to seeing. But then when we left the venue, we ran into this situation where both of our phones were almost dead. And my sister's phone eventually died. And so my phone was on like 5%. And I remember both of us having this feeling of like, this is kind of a scary situation. We're on the strip and someone had been killed on the strip the night before. There was a shooting that happened, like just a random, like,
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, not like a mass shooting, just like someone had been shot and killed on the strip the night before. So we're walking, just two girls alone at night, where my phone's at 5%. I'm trying to call an Uber. I can't remember my Uber password because I never use rideshare. Like,
that's me too. Like, literally every time I try to log into Uber, it's always like I need it immediately, and I always have to like reset my password and do the whole thing and like add a new credit card because it's all outdated. Like, oh my god.
Exactly. So we were in that exact situation, and it was like, all right, well, we got to figure it out because my phone is going to die and we need a way home to the hotel. So like, by sheer luck, it worked eventually. And we were able to get into the Uber like right before my phone died. And we made it to the hotel. But I feel like that's important to mention because like it's rare that both my sister and I would have like phones that are dead and we were like bickering and not excited to like be at this thing anymore because I wasn't feeling good. She was bummed. It was just like, yeah. So the first night of the festival, we had left. And the second day of the festival, I'm still feeling this way and I don't want to go. And I said to my sister, like, I am not, like, something's still off with me. And she's like, come on, Case, like, you had us leave early last night.
Get it together.
Like, yeah, she's like, come on, like, we got gifted these awesome tickets, like, let's use them. Like, what do you mean that you're not feeling good? And like, I totally get where she was coming from. So I like push off going. So we end up going late on the second day. And I just remember us walking up to the venue and I had said to her, hey, why don't we like go into a restaurant and get like some real food so we don't have to eat like the festival food. And I think like in hindsight now, I think that was my intuition being like, don't go in there. But I was just trying to find any excuse not to be inside the venue. But eventually we go inside the venue and I just remember us like a bickering, which is not like my sister and I at concerts. Like we get along really well whenever we're at some type of festival or event together. Like we're each other's wing women and it's never been a bad time. And this was like the first time that we were at a festival together where we just weren't jiving. Like something was off.
Wow.
But we eventually just get like the festival food. We like sit down in the grass, we eat it. And we end up staying the rest of Saturday night. So the third day of the festival rolls around, which is Sunday. And at this point, I'm feeling really bad that I've made my sister miss her favorite artist, miss half of day 2. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to be a trooper. We're going to make it through this whole day. Mm-hmm. And that ended up being the day of the shooting. And we were getting along really well that day. We just decided to like not even acknowledge that the last 2 days I was upsetting her. And day 3 was like our fresh start. So we go in and we're having a great time. And I remember this moment where like we had said to each other, oh, we haven't like taken any solo photos of each other. And I remember my sister took this photo of me that I ended up posting on Instagram just like right before the shooting started.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have that photo up on the screen right now for anyone watching.
Yeah, so it just happened to be that the entire time we were at this 3-day long festival, we weren't posting about it. And I just decided to post that I was there on the final day right before the shooting started. So that's just a side note. So then a bunch of people knew that I was
of course,
in this shooting. Yeah.
I'm sure they were super worried about you when they saw the news, like obviously.
For sure. And there's this really haunting photo that I took of my sister right before the shooting started, where Mandalay Bay is directly behind her. And she's like smiling, holding up a drink.
That's so ominous.
It really is, to just know that like several minutes after that, we would be on the ground being shot at is just insane. It truly, it's insane. So we found our way to the front of the stage and we like to be in the action. Like if we're not,
I want to be like front row.
For sure. Like, if we're not backstage, we're in the pit. Like, we're where the action's at, you know?
Yep.
So we get to the very front, and what my sister and I would do, since it's just the two of us, we would take turns. Like, if she was going to get a drink from the bar, like, I would save the spot. If I had to go pee, she would save the spot. Like, one of us was staying there, so we would like go solo to like do whatever we needed to do.
That's
and
honestly brave, because I don't think I've ever done that at a music festival, because it's so easy to lose the people you're with. I guess if she's staying in the exact same spot, then it would work, but that's kind of gutsy to me.
I mean, it was a large festival with a bunch of people there, but it's smaller than Coachella and smaller than like Stagecoach. So like, as far as festivals go, it was smaller than your average festival, even though it was still really big. So I think in our minds, we were like, oh, like, we'll be able to find each other, which like, thankfully we did. And thankfully we weren't separated when the shooting started, because that would have been like, I don't even want to think about what could have happened had we not been together when it started.
Oh, that'd be so much more terrifying even. Like, you're alone at this giant music festival and this is going on.
And I've talked to people that were separated from the person they went there with, and have heard other stories of how they got out. And it's just, it's crazy. I truly cannot imagine. Like, I do not know how we would have made it out without each other. Like, it was truly a defining moment for our relationship of, like, we literally made it out of the deadliest mass shooting together. And there were people directly next to us that were hit. But okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. So we're dancing, and we ended up making friends with these two girls, and we got separated from them when the shooting started. But I was able to find these girls later on Instagram, the power of social media, and they were both okay and made it out.
Good.
Yeah. So just several minutes before the shooting started, we're dancing with them. We're doing Snapchat videos. We're having a great time.
Do you still have any of those videos?
I do. Yeah. I'll send them to you.
We'll be playing those right now as well.
Yeah. So that was also when I had red hair and bangs. So I look different than now. But yeah, so we were just having a great time. And there was this group of people next to us that were kind of throwing shade at my sister, and my sister was just having a good time. Like, she was like drinking
I've
and
gotten
dancing.
in fights with random people at concerts who decide they hate me because I'm tall. And like,
how's that your fault?
I know, but people are just really mean. People get in their like weird mode where they're like protective and aggressive and kind of territorial at concerts. Like, I've had that happen a lot. So I totally get it.
Totally.
Like, this just is a part of going to shows.
Absolutely. So that was happening right before the shooting started too. So then I was like, okay, Allie, like, I'm going to turn my flash on and do some cute videos of you. But we were kind of doing it to be a little bit obnoxious. Like,
well, because you're like, screw you guys. Like, why are you ruining our time?
We're here to have fun. Like,
exactly.
So we're doing that and like getting dirty looks from the girls in the group, you know? So there's this group of people that clearly don't like us for no reason. Then the shooting started. So at 10:04 p.m., what sounded like fireworks went off, but I knew and my sister knew that it wasn't fireworks. Like, we just looked at each other, and then people around us were like, fireworks? And we like look in the sky and there are no fireworks. And something in me just knew this is a shooting. So there was a guy in the crowd that was like, get on the ground. Like basically just like telling people like, we need to get on the ground. So my sister and I dropped to the ground, but the guy that was in the group of people that were throwing shade at my sister and I, he actually like wrapped his arm around us to get on the ground.
Wow.
So like, I think that just shows that in these horrible moments of tragedy, there's so much humanity. Like you see the worst of people, but also the best of people in moments like this, where, yeah, we were bickering 5 minutes before, but in a moment where we're all getting shot at, we care about each other and we don't want anyone to get hurt.
He tried to protect you.
Yeah. And to me, like, that was just so beautiful because like it was clear just a few minutes before that like they were not having us.
Yeah.
So that's something that stuck with me.
Absolutely.
And so my sister and I are now down on the ground. And the way that the show was set up was they had this like turf on the asphalt. And so we're like laying down and I have like my head down. I'm holding my sister's hand and she is like looking up to like see what's happening. And while she's like looking up to see like what our strategy should be, she's yelling at me to keep my head down. And she just kept repeating like, keep your head down, Case, keep your head down. And yeah, and I remember telling myself to do yoga breaths to calm myself down.
Insane to have that presence of mind. What?
Yeah, I just remember like I thought I was gonna get hit because everyone around us was getting hit. So I just remember thinking, okay, like you're gonna get hit. So you need to calm yourself. That way, like when the bullet hits you, you'll be able to respond.
I can't even believe that you thought that far ahead. Like I would just be hyperventilating.
Yeah, I also think it might have been because I had previously watched an interview of a woman describing being in a mass shooting that happened inside of a restaurant, which is crazy, but
can happen anywhere, honestly, as we've seen. It's crazy.
Yeah, as we know. But she described like having to put herself into a meditative state with deep breathing but she actually got hit.
Whoa.
So I had that somehow in my mind that I just needed to breathe to calm myself down for impact.
It's so impressive. Like, first of all, I just want to say I'm absolutely amazed that you were able to not only have that thought in your head, but then actually act on it and calm yourself down. Like, I am so impressed with you. That's wild.
Well, thank you. But I really want to give credit to my sister, who was the one that was really trying to figure out our next steps. And was seeing it
firsthand, right? I mean, she was the one who was looking at what was going on.
So that's what made it real for me. So this whole time that we're on the ground, I'm holding her hand and we're pulsing each other's hands. And I just kept repeating, I love you. And I was saying like, I love you. You're the best sister in the world. And I just remember her repeating like, I love you, but we're getting out of here. Like this is not where it ends.
That's amazing.
Like, we're going to get
That's
out.
amazing.
Yeah. I was truly went into big sister mode of like, no, we're getting out. So she's holding my hand and I just remember I looked over at her and I saw her look up and I was trying to repeat what she had been repeating to me, which was keep your head down. And it was the sound of her voice that made it real, made it like, oh, we're in the middle of a mass shooting.
What do you mean?
And she looked up and she saw a woman's head bleeding and she goes, oh my God, Case, her head is bleeding, her head is bleeding. And it was the way that I've never heard my sister sound like that. And it was the tone of her voice, and it was just, it made it so real for me. It was, oh my God, a woman right next to us just got hit in the head. And
I just have chills everywhere. That is so harrowing.
So at that moment, I started praying, and I was just praying to angels, and I was doing it out loud, and like a voice like this, like I just said, angels, surround me and my sister, and surround and protect everyone around us. And like, obviously, like so many people were murdered and hit. So I'm not saying that did anything, but it's what I did in the moment, was praying to the angels to surround us.
I mean, that's just an absolute mystery. Nobody can ever know why some people die and some people survive in tragedies like this, but that is really beautiful and amazing. And I mean, I know you're not a super religious person, but the saying is that there's no such thing as an atheist in a foxhole.
Yeah.
And like, I think anyone in your situation would be praying. And I think it's really interesting that you chose to pray to angels specifically. But I believe that some, otherworldly presence might have surrounded you that day and given you protection. I've heard other stories where people have that happen, or at least as they experience it. So I wouldn't doubt that. I don't think anything's impossible, I'll just say.
Yeah, I mean, as you know, I'm very spiritual. Like, I don't assign myself to any religion, but I do believe in a spiritual realm, and I do believe in energy and all of that. But yeah, so that's what I did in that moment. Then as we're down on the ground, just to really paint the picture, you're feeling pressure of people running over your body, because it's pure.
People were actually trampling over you?
Yes, I mean, not intentionally, of course. Like, people are.
Well, it's just chaos, I'm
chaos.
sure. They don't know if you're even dead or alive, I'm sure, because there were bodies.
Exactly.
So,
and
I mean,
where we were
shit.
at the front of the stage, there was this fence blocking the audience from the stage. So where we were laying, it's understandable that people would accidentally trample over me to try to jump the fence to get out.
Okay,
So I
see.
think it was.
Did you guys think about jumping the fence?
So that is eventually what we did. So we are still kind of down on the ground. And then again, like a random person yells out, "We're sitting ducks." And it was at that moment that my sister really went into action and grabbed my hand and was like, "Get up." And we go to hop this fence, and my boot got stuck. And
oh my God.
know, and there was another hero on the other side of the fence, this woman who was probably in her 40s, and she had on this white dress and brown cowgirl boots. And she looked at me.
A white dress, literally an angel.
Yeah, exactly. And she looked at me, and her exact words were, "It's now or never." And she literally just yanked me over the fence. And then she just kept running with her group. So after my sister and I were over the fence, we ran to where the artist trailers were. And what's crazy is we didn't know we were running into like the worst spot. Like the closest spot to where the shooter was at was like where we were at the entire time. So
that's so crazy.
Yeah,
like
it's gnarly.
Just the pure terror and not knowing which direction to run, where the shots are coming from. Like, I'm sure initially you probably thought that it was somebody in the crowd, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
And so we're hiding behind the trailers, and beneath the stage, there's this guy there with his wife, and he's like flagging for us to run under the stage. So my sister and I grab each other's hands, and we just run under. And when we're under there, there's this concrete block like what you see in construction sites. And the man tells us, "Pull your legs in, you need to protect your vital organs." So,
oh my God, that's so terrifying.
Yeah. So
Jesus.
We have our legs pulled in, And now we've lined up and we're in a row where my sister is behind me with her legs tucked and she's holding my shoulders. I'm in front of her holding this stranger's shoulders. And it's at this point that I get my phone out. And my sister says to me, "We don't have time. Don't do that." Because in her mind, like, she's just thinking, like, we need to get out. Like, we don't have time to be on our
like,
phones.
don't worry about calling family. Like, we just need to survive.
Right.
I get it.
I totally get where she was coming from. But in my mind, we might die. I need to.
No, I get that as well.
So I start sending a bunch of texts, and I'll share the text messages with you. And I was writing to our family group chat, which had my mom, my dad, my sister, my brother, and myself in it. And I just wrote, "Allie and I are in the middle of a mass shooting. I love you guys so much. You're the best family ever. There's angels around us."
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I just kept sending text after text. And then I called my mom. And when my sister saw me calling my mom, she decided to call my dad too, so she could talk to somebody as well. And when I called my mom, she had the best response that I think any mother can have in that moment. Like, I still don't know how she knew what to do because it's so unbelievable. But when I called her, I said, "Mom, Allie and I are in the middle of a mass shooting." And she instinctively started singing to me. And she sang "You Are My Sunshine," which has been my favorite song since I were a little girl. And she's always sang it to me whenever I was sad or just wanted to feel better. And so she starts singing it. And then I start singing it with her. So imagine being in the middle of a mass shooting where people are screaming and crying and dying. And here I am on the phone singing "You Are My Sunshine" while I'm holding a stranger's shoulders. And I don't know if I'm gonna die. And it was just this really beautiful moment with my mom where,
oh my God,
like, she just knew exactly what to do, which was sing to me. And then on the phone, she had said, like, "Kacie, I feel like I'm hearing that things are quieting down. I think you and Allie need to run. Like, I really feel like you guys need to run." So I get off the phone with my mom and I turn to my sister and I say, "We have to run." And at this point, there were other people that were beneath the stage who began exiting. So there was like a row of people, and to describe what it was like beneath the stage, there's all these wires. So there, and it's low, so you can't stand up fully, and it's not ideal. Like, it's not a good spot to be.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, so my sister was upset that I wanted to leave because, and
it felt
understandable,
safe.
Like, it's felt much safer than being out in the open. But in my mind, it was like my mom said that it was quiet and we should run. So I was like, we're running.
Yes, I would listen to my mom too in that situation. I think, like, it would just be so compelling.
So I grab her hand and I just yank her with me, and we run, and we end up on the other side of the stage. And now we're out in the open again. And there was this fear that came over both of us. But I remember my sister being like, I knew this was a bad idea. Like, why did you make us do this?
Wow.
And at that exact moment, we see this guy, this concert worker who was probably making minimum wage, who stayed there to tell people where to run, where to find an exit.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a hero. Are you kidding me?
An absolute hero, like completely. Stayed.
I wonder who that guy is. If he's out there,
whoever that
literally.
guy was, because truly a hero. Like, that's one thing that I want to highlight in this story, is that there were so many heroes throughout. And like, my sister and my mom were my heroes in this situation, and also my sister's friend who came to pick us up. And in many ways, my sister and I were heroes to other people too, which I'll get to that part of the story.
So what did this scene look like? Like, were there still a lot of people around?
So
like, what?
Point, this was after, like, of course, we didn't know that the shooting had ceased, because you don't know if he's reloading. You don't know anything.
No,
you don't even know where,
if he's right behind you. Like,
you don't know where the shooting's coming from. And so we didn't realize it, but the shooting had stopped at that point. So we saw all the carnage. We didn't leave the venue until the shooting had already stopped. So we had seen so much blood, so many pools of blood, bodies when you look out, discarded items like purses, boots, hats, cell phones, just everywhere.
What was going through your head when you saw so many bodies? Because I mean, 60 people died with over 800 injured. So I mean, it must have just been an absolute massive amount of people.
You don't know if what you're seeing is a dead body or someone laying on the ground to try to protect themselves.
Yes.
So to answer that, like, I don't know what I saw. I just know that I saw so much blood. Like, that is something that you can't erase. And it was also on my sister and I's cowgirl boots that we were wearing. And we didn't even realize it till like a year later. We decided to go to a small show together, and we had worn our boots and we saw blood stains on the boots. And I just remember like us looking at each other and hugging each other, and like that realization of
oh my God,
how close we were. And
to death.
Yeah, and there was even a moment in the initial gunfire where I was laying on the ground and I felt liquid touch my leg, and I just remember thinking, did I just get shot? Like, is that my blood? Is that the blood of the person next to me? Or did somebody spill a drink on me? Like, I didn't know what anything was. Like, it's when you're in that moment, it's so hard to decipher like what's even happening. And like, I remember the next day I was covered in bruises, and it was like, how did I get all these bruises?
People were trampling you.
Yeah, that's what I realized after, was that it was from being trampled on, because I'm like, how on earth did I get so many bruises? But anyway, back to where we're at in the story. So this concert worker points us to where an exit is, because this venue did not have marked exits other than the exit that was at the very front of the venue by the entrance, which was
my God,
so far away from where we were. Like, it would have been, and I don't know logistics. I don't know if it was 1 mile, 2 miles. I don't know, but it was so far from where we were that it was like, where do we even go? And thank goodness that this guy stuck around to like tell people where to run. And he's like, run that way. So we start running. And as I mentioned earlier, I have several serious health conditions. And at this point in time, my POTS was so bad. I was so symptomatic. And my sister has been there. She knows that she's witnessed me faint and hit my head when I'm symptomatic. She has been there to like cradle my head after a bad fall. She's been there when the ambulance came to get me. Like, she knows the severity of what I deal with, and she just held my hand and she's like, you got this. Like, we have to run, but you got this. Like, you're gonna be okay. And then I just remember her wrapping her arm around me to like help me stabilize myself while we were running. And I just remember us, as we're running, we're like looking down at the pavement and seeing just like pools of blood, and like a sleeve off a shirt would be there. Like, it's just random stuff that had been discarded in all of the chaos. Like, we really got to see the aftermath, but we didn't know it at the time. Like, at the time, we thought we were still in the middle of the shooting. We didn't know that the shooter had already been killed. So, yeah, it's just wild now, like, knowing all of that, and also knowing now that we were in like the worst possible location that you could have been in is such a trip. As we're running, my sister says to me that she actually just completed a course on gun safety. So she works a government job, and she had to take this course, and she had learned that the worst spot you can go to in the middle of a shooting is wherever they're trying to tell you to go to. So they
they always want you to like go stand out in a field together. Like, what?
So they were, I forget which hotel they were sending everyone to, but there was a specific spot that they were sending all of the survivors to. And my sister just said, we're not going there. Like, we're not going to wherever they say to go.
Agreed.
Yeah, great decision.
That's smart.
And I just remember as we were running through this parking lot, it was bizarre seeing people just hiding in plain sight and nobody knowing what to do. And we came upon this like parking structure, and that's when I decided to call my brother to tell him what was going on. And my brother didn't answer, and I left him this voicemail. And what's wild is that I never heard this voicemail until over a year later. And he shared the voicemail with me because he had saved it. And the first time I heard it and heard my own voice, it just like hit me like a ton of bricks, but it took me right back to that moment of being there and calling him. And Shelby, I sent you the voicemail. Do you want to play it now?
Yeah, I'm gonna play it for everyone. Let me pull it up.
Rob, Ali and I were just in a mass shooting. No, it's his voicemail. We're currently okay. We love you. We love you so much. I love you, Rob.
Oh my God, I just got so many chills.
Yeah.
That is absolutely harrowing. You can just hear and feel the pain and the panic in your voice.
Yeah. In the voicemail, you could hear me say, we're currently okay. And that was how we had to go through each thing, was like, okay, we're currently okay. But we had no idea where the shooter was. So we never truly felt safe until we were back in California. So,
wow.
Yeah, we leave that voicemail. And after we leave the voicemail, I spot this door. And I run over to this door and I try it, but it's locked. And we keep running, and I spot another door in the same building. And my sister's like, it's just gonna be locked, which understandable, the first one was, so it's right of her to assume that the second one would be locked. but something in me said to try that door. So I run over and I try it, and it's unlocked. And we get inside of this building, and it's dark. It's just a dark hallway. There's nobody in there. And so this hallway had doors.
Creepy.
It was, but there were doors on either side, and then there was like a door at the very end. And so we're like trying doors, and the one at the very end was open. And we go back there, and I just remember it was like the first time that we felt like we could breathe. Like, and not even fully breathe, but just like catch your breath type of situation. So we catch our breath, and we're like, okay, we're running into what we ran into on Friday, which was both of our phones were dying.
Oh my God.
My sister is looking around this office space trying to find a phone charger. And this office space had like old tower fans. Like, it basically looked like a storage unit with some cubicles. So she's going around, she finds a charger, and she holds it up, and she goes, figures, they're Android users.
Oh my God. That's actually like, hilarious.
Yeah, that was like the one like comedic break of this horrible scenario of like, of course we both have iPhones, and the only charger we can find is for an Android.
Like, of course.
Yeah, of course, right? So she ends up calling her best friend Kylie, who happened to live in Vegas. And she's like, Kylie, like, you have to come save us. And Kylie's like, yes, Zach and I are on our way. And we didn't know this until years later, but they actually drove on the wrong side of the freeway to come save us because the freeways were closed.
My God.
Yeah, crazy.
That's a good friend.
Very good friend. I mean, it was my sister's best friend for years and years. So like, she would do anything for my sister. But she called Kylie, and Kylie's like, don't even worry, we're on our way. So because I didn't go to the bathroom when I had initially said like, oh, I have to go pee, and my sister was like, no, like, stay, like, let's listen to the first few songs together. But now that we were in this office space, like, we didn't see a bathroom anywhere. So I had to pee in a trash can, and I felt
understandable.
So bad. Yeah, I felt so bad though that I like wrote a note to whoever's cubicle that was.
Aww.
And I wrote a thank you note to them, and I
like,
just
of course
said,
you would. You're just like the sweetest person ever. Like, of course you're thinking about the person whose cubicle it is, like during a mass shooting.
And I actually took a photo of their cubicle, so we can include it in this episode. Yep. And if anybody recognizes this cubicle, the photos in it, or anything, like, let us know, because I am so curious to see whose cubicle space that was. Because
oh my God, yeah.
It was like our little shelter for 15 minutes. And yeah, I wrote them a note, let them know what had happened. And then
I bet they still have that note.
I would think that they probably did, and they probably had to evacuate because of the shooting. Like, I thought of that later, like, oh, that's why it was vacant, because everyone evacuated. But yeah, I wonder if they do have that note and if we could track them down somehow. But
yeah, internet, do your thing. The photo is up right now. So
after I write this thank you note, more survivors started to rush in, and people were cut up, bloodied. There were little kids. So because my sister and I were in the room before everyone, I already had a layout of where everything was. So we started putting the little kids into the janitor's closet. And I was a nanny for 10 years, and I love kids. Like, I would do anything to protect children. Like, I think children are just like so special, and I would do anything to save them and protect them. So I see these little kids, and I hide them in the janitor's closet, and I'm like stacking supplies up.
Oh my God.
And like, their parents are completely exhausted. Like, imagine being a parent and having your child, because this was a family-friendly festival.
Oh my God.
There were plenty of kids there in attendance, and the parents like are so overwhelmed at that point and so exhausted. So they were very grateful that we just kind of took charge and started putting the kids in there and hiding them. And then after that, I remember there was a woman who had water, and she like saw me and saw how exhausted I was. And like, again, I had been running while symptomatic, dealing with like a serious health condition.
Yeah.
And this stranger like gave me some of her water. And I just remember like that sip of water was like the most refreshing drink of water ever.
I bet.
And then my sister says to me, Kacie, Kylie is down the street. We have to run to her. They can't get any further down the strip. So we have to run. And I just remember, now I was the one that was like, do we have to? Like, I finally feel safe in this building. Yeah. And she's like, no, we're not safe until we're out of here completely.
Yeah.
So we leave this building and we're running down the strip. And as we're running, there's people spewing misinformation. So there's people yelling about the shooting, being like, oh, it's multiple shooters. They were in the crowd. And then there were people saying, oh, the shooters are dressed like cops. So don't trust any cops because they're the ones doing the shooting. Yeah, like people were just making shit up on the fly because
that's so crazy.
It's so unhinged because nobody really knew
anything.
Where the shooter, nothing. I mean, people do it to this day. They'll speculate about like who a shooter was when there's zero information out.
I mean, look, I don't even have a problem with speculating, but they're literally yelling it to people who are already in a mass panic as though it's a fact. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. And it just added to the panic of the situation and
of course
did no good for anyone. And there was also this like surreal moment of running and realizing who must have been inside the concert and who has no clue what was going on. Because there were people out and about that clearly had no clue that there was a massacre that just occurred. Because they must have been in a casino where they didn't hear it or something.
Oh my God.
Because there were people acting like there wasn't just the deadliest mass shooting. Like, there were people acting like it was just like a regular Sunday and not like a very serious situation. So yeah,
that must have been so jarring to see. Like people just with their drinks, like cheerful, laughing, where other people are like absolutely panicked, bloodied, trying to escape for their lives. What a strange juxtaposition.
It truly was. And I remember my sister being like, look, Kylie and Zach are just on the other side of the Motel 6. So we run and we're near the Motel 6 when a police officer like pulls us inside of the room, and we're now sardined in this room with like a bunch of other survivors.
And that's also kind of scary because you were literally just hearing that the shooter was dressed like a cop.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, at that point, you don't know who to trust.
Yep. And my sister just said to me, like, we have to keep running. Like, she's literally in the next lot over.
Wow.
Like, we can't stay in this room. And the cop was trying to get us to stay in this room. And my sister was like, no, we're leaving. And I just remember this cop saying, like, if you die, that's on you. And my sister was like, we're running. Like, and I just remember this feeling of like my boots, I had on these cowgirl boots, and I felt like they like became weightless. Like when I saw the truck and like saw our salvation, I just remember getting this like burst of energy to like be able to run like that final stretch.
That's so interesting. Like, it must have been adrenaline.
Yeah, it had to have been. And this entire time, my sister and I have not cried. Like, throughout this whole ordeal, we never cried. So we make it to the truck, and then we start piling in as many survivors as we can in the bed of the truck and the cab. They just fit as many people as we possibly could to like drive people to safety. And I just remember my sister and I finally sitting down and holding hands, and we just looked at each other and we were like, we just survived a mass shooting. And that's when both of us just started bawling. And it was this surreal moment of, oh my God, we're alive, but also, oh my God, our lives will never be the same. Like, this is insane. And then after that, we had gone to Kylie's apartment, and then my cousin came to pick us up, and we went to my uncle's house who lives in Vegas, and my parents were already driving to Vegas from California to come get my sister and I. Like, we had flown there and we were gonna fly back, but they were like, no, we're coming to get you.
No, I get it, yeah.
I guess like the drive to Vegas, my mom had like lost consciousness a few times. She was in the passenger seat, but the thing that made her, and she actually just told me this like last week, that when she pulled up the news, she saw me and my sister in one of the photos of like the carnage. She saw exactly what we were wearing and saw us in this photo, and immediately lost consciousness and passed out.
Oh my God.
And my dad described like having to like pull her up while he's driving because she like kept losing consciousness because of knowing that her daughters are in the middle of this.
Holy shit. This is so intense.
Oh, it was. And I just remember telling myself to write everything down. So like Shelby knows this. I was an English major in college. I love to write. I've always been someone who keeps a journal. And whenever I've experienced something, my instinct is to write it down so I don't forget. And I wanted to remember every detail because this was the most insane thing to ever happen to me. And so I just remember the second that we got to safety, I got out my notes on my iPhone and I just started writing down everything that I could remember, start to finish, exactly what happened.
Wow.
And I'm grateful that I did that because, like, as we know, like, trauma impacts the brain, and oftentimes your brain wants to protect you and erase some memories.
Absolutely.
So that was something I did, was immediately write it down. And then I remember like just the heaviness of that night and the drive back on October 2nd. I just remember us being in the car for that long drive back to California, and my brother called. And one of my favorite artists of all time is Tom Petty. And my brother called, and it's on speakerphone in the car. And the first thing he says is, Tom Petty just died. And I start bawling.
Why would he tell you that?
I know! So I start bawling, and my mom goes, Rob, what the fuck?
Literally, what the fuck?
Seriously.
Oh my God.
Read the room. And then I remember we stopped at a gas station like shortly after, and my mom said to me like, Kacie, are you crying because you got shot at or because Tom Petty died? And I was like, I don't even know. It's both. It's all of it. It's everything.
Oh my God. That's like a moment out of a movie. I mean, all of this is, but crazy.
So then, like, this is so bizarre, but there was also guilt about not getting shot, which is insane. But it's normal for people to feel that when so many other people were wounded in such a horrific way. Like, I felt guilty.
That's so wild. I mean, I know I've heard the term survivor's guilt a lot, but to actually imagine experiencing it, like, it's hard to even comprehend, because I feel like, of course, you did absolutely nothing wrong. Like, you were just lucky, right? Or maybe angels protected you. Who knows? But either way, like, of course, I'm just grateful that you're okay, right?
Same. But my sister felt the survivor's guilt too, so much so that neither one of us signed up for the class action because we felt like it wouldn't be right because we didn't get hit by a bullet. But that's how we felt at the time. Like, now I wish we would have. Like, now that I know, like, so many people signed up for it and got, like, payouts, I wish we would have. But at that point in time, like, we were dealing with the survivor's guilt. We were dealing with we're lucky to be alive when so many people didn't make it. And so many people have lifelong health issues because of being hit with a bullet, or there's been a couple of people that have committed suicide because of the PTSD from this event. I spoke about, after the shooting, I ended up going to, like, town halls and rallies and talking about how there's no programs in place for survivors of mass shootings to get mental health care. And there's, like, the California Victims Impact Fund, which so many people mentioned to me as an avenue to get therapy, but so many therapists will not accept it as a form of payment. So that's just, like, a side note that there's nothing in place to help people that have been through this, or there's nothing efficient, I should say. There's nothing efficient in place. So after the shooting, like 1 month later, I don't have health insurance, and I didn't at that time either. I just pay out of pocket. I'm a freelancer. I'm still trying to figure that out.
Guys, please, like, subscribe, like this video, go to our Patreon. It's free right now, but, like, anything to help, because, like, I want to make money from our podcast so that we can help get Kacie health insurance, literally. Anyway.
Exactly. Because I also, just side note, we found out recently that I've now been diagnosed with a health condition called VEDS, vascular Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, where I should be getting scans of my heart and my vital organs.
I mean, it's, like, life-threatening. Like, you
months.
need to get these scans.
It is. So I need to figure out this whole health insurance thing. But anyway,
if anyone wants to make a donation, just message one of us privately on Instagram. I'm just saying, okay? Yeah. Just throwing it out there.
Thank you,
anyway,
guys.
Go ahead.
Anywho, so a month later, I had read about this meeting that was going to take place in Anaheim, California for survivors of the shooting. And it was like a meeting where people could learn how to get therapy and get therapy for free. So my sister and I decided we want to go, and my parents went with us, and we park. And my sister starts having a panic attack because she sees someone in a wheelchair that had been hit at the shooting.
That would trigger me. I can only imagine. That's terrifying. It's horrible.
Of course. And my sister was going in solidarity for me because she has, like, government insurance, so she's good. But she was going to try to help me. And when she saw that, had the panic attack, she stayed in the car with my dad. But I had said to my mom, like, I don't have resources, so I need to attend this. And it was the most bizarre meeting.
How so?
Shelby, it was, okay, so my mom and I go inside, and there's probably 50 people in there. And quite a few people with injuries, visible injuries. And then there was this one woman who had on, so the festival was called Route 91. So this one woman had on her Route 91 branded hoodie. She had on her wristband. She had on a Route 91 shirt. And then her phone continuously rang throughout this meeting. She did not silence her phone. And every time her phone rang, it was the Jason Aldean song that he was playing when the shooting started. So it was like this woman was stuck in time.
That is absolutely wild. Are you kidding me? First of all, I'm sure that was so triggering for everybody in that room.
Absolutely. I mean, it was beyond triggering for me, so I could only imagine for other people. And it was also just bizarre because it was like, okay, your phone has now rang 3 times. Turn it the fuck off.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
she was literally stuck in that moment when it went down, though.
She was stuck. She was completely stuck a month later, still stuck in that moment. So that was bizarre. And then hearing the stories, people sharing their survivor stories, but also there was a woman who got up and spoke and shared that her only son died in the shooting and she doesn't know how to cope and she doesn't have insurance and she doesn't know what to do because she wasn't there at the shooting, but it's deeply, of course, it's deeply
ruined
and
her
unimaginably. Yeah. So watching her pain and
this sounds awful. I don't think I'd want to go to this.
No, but again, I had no resources. So I'm like, okay, this is like in my mind, the only way I could try to get help. And it was also bizarre that they didn't even have water for people there. Like there were I don't know who organized this, but it was like
just extremely low effort. Like they're not making money off of it, so my God, they just don't even care.
The lowest of effort. It was so awful. So then I get contact information of like a victim's advocate to try to get therapy. It doesn't work. Like I signed up, I submitted receipts, I did everything, and I never got reimbursed for any therapy. The therapist that I initially saw who said that she would accept it as a form of payment told me on like my 5th session that she had to drop me as a client because the Victims Impact Fund was only paying her $30 per session.
Wait, what?
Right. And her normal rate was like $200, $250,
yeah, of course.
Whatever it was. But the aftermath of being in a mass shooting for me was getting diagnosed with PTSD a few months later. So they won't diagnose you with PTSD unless it has been several months where you're still having these symptoms and triggers. Okay. And for me, it's like loud noises, it's certain songs, right? I don't listen to country music anymore, like very rarely. And it's like something for me, like I can listen to like some old stuff I used to listen to and like maybe a couple songs here and there, but like overall I tend to like avoid the genre altogether.
For sure.
Yeah, and I haven't been to like a big festival since then. I did go to a reggae fest like a couple years ago. That was like my first time being back at a festival, and like that was okay, but it was still like this feeling of like, okay, know where all the exits are. And like this is something that I would tell anybody now. Having survived a mass shooting, always have your cell phone with you. Like I will always tell people, no matter where you are, please just have your phone with you. Like I know that it's good to disconnect and we don't always want our phones with us, but you could just put it on do not disturb, but please
Yeah.
have it with you because it can quite literally save your life. And number 2, look for exits. No matter where you are, find exits and find areas that you could run that might not be a marked exit. Like anytime you're at an event, like I do this now, anytime I'm at an event, I've already figured out where all the exits are. I figured out
That's
where
so
I
smart.
can run. I figured out where, and just to speak to, I know I mentioned it earlier, but the power of social media. So after the shooting, my sister and I were talking about those 2 girls that we met. And I just posted a photo of them on my story, said, does anybody know these girls? And someone that follows me recognized one of the girls as like their sister's friend. And I was able to be put in contact with them, and they had escaped like in the very beginning. And since I had written everything in my notes, I had posted photos, screenshots of my notes on Instagram, and I had done like the hashtag Route 91, and I had other survivors DM me their stories. And there's one story in particular, this girl, Victoria, she was telling me that she got separated from, I think it was her cousin that she was there with, and she didn't have her phone. She lost her phone in the chaos. And
oh my God.
she
I lost my phone at a music festival, so I know what that's like. And there wasn't even a shooting, so.
Yeah, it's very common. So she had said that she felt her dad, who had passed away, her dad was speaking to her, telling her where to run. And her dad was telling her to run in zigzags. So she ran in zigzags until she made it to a liquor store, and they let her use their phone, and she was able to get out. But
oh my God, I just got chills.
yeah, it's insane. I mean, the amount of people that reached out to me after that post to share how similar their experiences were. And I even met, I had my hair done by my friend's hairstylist just a couple years ago, and she had a Route 91 tattoo. And I said, oh my God, like you were there. And she goes, yeah, you were there. And we just like, it's like an instant bond. I mean, you just hug each other. Like it's knowing that you experienced it. And this is another crazy thing too, is depending on where you were at within the festival, you could have had an entirely different experience, because I've also met people that didn't realize the severity of the situation because of where they were in the festival, and they were able to just like go immediately out the exit and not really think twice about it. Yeah, so wild. But this hairstylist was describing someone directly next to them getting hit, and her husband trying to save that person, and her being like, okay, well, what are we gonna do? And they decided that she needed to leave so one of them would be alive for the kids.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and her husband wanted to stay and try to help and assist people that have been injured, which is so admirable.
Wow.
And yeah, so just wild.
That truly
impact
is insane, and also so heroic. Like you said, just so many heroic stories in this situation in the face of pure evil. Yeah, and that's something like when I think about tragedy and chaos, I mean, I think about Mr. Rogers, and Mr. Rogers has this famous quote where he says to look for the helpers. Like in situations of tragedy, there's always people helping. And so that's beautiful. How I live my life now, is just looking for the helpers. Like in the worst possible situations, there's always good people. There's always people that want to help. And I think that's something that I really want people to remember, is like, there's still so many good people in the world. There's so many people that want to help. Yeah. And that's something that we cannot forget. Like, we cannot think that the world is this dark, evil place, because it's not. Like, we need to remember that there's so much love and so much light, and people that actually do care about each other. And
yeah, in the midst of all of this tragedy and chaos, like that is really what stuck with me, was the people who helped. And yeah, that's my story.
Wow. I mean, that is so beautiful that is what you have taken out of this more than anything else. That is really beautiful. And I think it speaks to your character as well, because a lot of people could go through something like this and become very bitter about how much evil is in the world, you know, and violence, and just how unsafe we all are, you know, when we go out in public in a million different ways. And the fact that you choose to focus on the beautiful moments that happened even in the face of this horrible, horrible tragedy, and the heroic things that people did, the people who helped you, and your heroic acts trying to help those children, you know, I think it's really beautiful and so impressive that that's what you choose to take out of it. And I know you live your life just from a place of love always and light always. Like, you're just a bright light in the world. And, you know, I hate that you have gone through so much. I mean, this is, you know, unspeakably traumatic. And I know you've had other traumas as well. And the fact that you still live your life the way you do, with kindness always and an open heart, is everybody should be more like you.
Thank you.
It's just true.
I mean, I don't fault people who feel bitter about things that have happened to them, but I just know that I can't live my life dwelling on the way I've been treated and the things I've experienced, because it's no way to live. Like, you cannot dwell on that stuff, and it's really hard. But the things that I found is like you, Shelby, like, we met through a different set of horrific circumstances. Yeah. But our friendship has meant the entire world to me, and it's been the greatest friendship of my life. And that's something, like, yeah, we met through a horrible thing, but there's always a silver lining. Like, I'm the queen of silver linings, and like, silver lining of that situation was I got my best friend out of it.
No, literally same. I feel so lucky and so happy to have you in my life now. And I mean, for me at least, like, it was worth it. I mean, you can't really measure things like that because, of course, like, life is just life, and, you know, you can't go back and change it. But for me, like, I feel like you've brought so much joy to my life that, you know, I'm just grateful every day for that. So yeah. And I mean, I love that through this podcast, hopefully you can bring some of that joy and your light to other people as well. I mean, that's, you know, one of the reasons that I'm excited about doing this, because I feel like more people should know who you are and listen to your amazing stories. Like, you are the best storyteller, and you just have so much to pull from.
I've had a lot of stuff happen to me.
A lot of stuff, like both good and bad and funny and crazy and just like, I don't even know. You have such a wide range of experiences to share. So I look forward to sharing more, to hearing more from you. We're going to do more storytelling episodes like this, some more lighthearted, of course, where you just kind of sit down and tell stories about your life. And I think everyone's going to really love that. So thank you so much for sharing this. Like, this, what a wild ride. I mean, amazing that you're even able to talk about it now after everything that you've been through. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for making me feel safe. I'm surprised that I got through that without completely crying and bawling, but I'm just grateful to feel so safe with you, Shelby, and to be able to share all of this. And I hope that, like, the listeners can get something out of this story. Like, that's my goal in sharing all of my experiences is, I don't know, maybe someone could feel something or learn something, or in the very least be entertained. But
yeah, no, of course they will be. Absolutely. It's very entertaining and harrowing, like watching a horror movie, but it's real. So, I mean, I don't know how anybody could not take something away from hearing you tell this story. So I think in our next episode, since this has been wonderful and long and intense, I think we're going to next episode do a full deep dive into what was actually going on behind the scenes of this shooting. Like, Kacie experienced it on the ground, and I've done a deep dive into, you know, the police, what they were doing, what they were thinking, the shooter, what was his motive? Why would he do something so horrifically evil? We're going to deep dive into that. And then also, Kacie has a story that is absolutely insane that she's going to share about. Okay, Kacie, do you want to just give like a teaser for that? Like it's so crazy.
Okay, so I ended up in a situation where I was in close quarters with the best friends of the mass shooter. And this was years later, but it was the most jarring and terrifying experience. And I cannot wait to share that with you.
It truly feels straight out of a horror movie. Like when you were telling, it's unbelievable. Yeah, truly shocking. The story isn't over yet. We have a chapter 2, so please stay tuned. We're going to be posting that soon, where again, I do a deep dive into what was happening while Kacie was on the ground experiencing all of this, what we do know about the shooter, and then of course, Kacie's absolutely unhinged experience, harrowing experience with the close friends of the shooter, where she was ambushed by them basically. So, okay. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this very, very intense and personal episode. We appreciate every single one of you so much. If you liked this episode, if you thought we did a good job, please hit that like button. Rate us 5 stars if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share this with a friend. Like whatever you can do to help get this out there. Kacie's story deserves to be heard. And please, in the comments, tell us if you've had any experiences, anything like this. I mean, I know that it's becoming more and more common, mass shootings just in general, and we're going to go into more detail on that in our next episode. But please, if you have your own experience, drop it in the comments, drop your reaction to this and just any thoughts you have. And you can find us on social media at @ChillSeeker Podcast on Instagram and @ChillSeeker Pod on TikTok. Thank you so much and stay safe out there. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.